Most churches want growth, but their financial plan is actually the thing that's holding them back. You see, their budget isn't built for expansion. It's actually built for survival. So today I'm going to give you 5 simple tips to give you the flexibility and the confidence in your church's financial resources, and how to have real room to grow. And after the 5 tips, I'll even throw in 2 tips that you should not be doing with your church budget in 2026. So tip number 1, create a stretch budget. A lot of churches today create one budget and they present it to their church. This is our financial plan. This is what we think we're going to accomplish. This is what we think we're going to do. This is what we think we're going to receive in gifts. I'm going to say that's well and good, but create a second budget that is a stretch budget. A stretch budget gives you the ability to adapt depending on your gifts in real time. Then we will count that as a blessing and we will deploy more ministry strategies. And so a stretch budget simply is using in real time a surplus of gifts in the current year. Our second tip is simply to get better at forecasting next year's gifts. You can't create a budget for next year if you don't know how much money you're going to bring in. Number 1, you can simply just take last year's total gifts and you can bring it forward with some kind of easy adjustments, say raise it by 3%. And I'm going to say that that estimate isn't the best estimate that you could use to forecast next year's giving. You probably know that giving decreases in the summer months. Also, I'm sure you factored in that at the end of year, gifts will increase. And so why is this important? Is it gives us the flexibility if we put in the time and the effort to do proper analysis, we can see in real time and we can adjust in real time. So forecasting removes the guesswork in real time and it increases the accountability throughout the year. Third tip is have a plan for the margin. Let's say we had a significant surplus at the end of the year, that our gifts increased so much that we just have a pile of money at the end of the year. What do we do with the surplus? Let's not just roll it over into next year. Let's have a plan. This plan that I'm going to present to you is pretty easy to remember. It's just a 60-30-10 rule. 60% of our surplus we should stash away into a kind of a growth reserve fund. And you can define that however you want. However you anticipate future growth, be it an expansion of infrastructure such as buildings or even like software, or if an expansion of personnel, however you define expansion or growth, 60% goes towards that. 30%, let's reward the ministries. They probably need aid and resources such as time, money, volunteers. Let's do what we can to kind of alleviate those ministries in any way. And then it's hard to demand our members or our attendees to be generous with their money if the church itself isn't generous with money. Generosity in should also equal generosity out for churches. However you help people that aren't involved in your church, I think that would really be a great way to use some of the surplus. I've seen that work in a couple of churches before, and I think it's a lot better than just rolling it over into next year. Number 4 is budget for new staff hires before you need them. And this is a tension that a lot of churches face. If we expand staff after our ministries have expanded, then the need kind of dictates our decision making and we become reactive rather than proactive. So how can churches become proactive as they look to bring on new staff hires with growth or expansion in mind? So I'm going to introduce to you a bridge fund. This is when churches start saving up for new staff hires before they need it, and they save up enough for let's say 12 months, let's say 18 months to pay for this new staff hire for the first year and a half before the need actually arises. And that's how churches are proactive rather than reactive. Our 5th tip is that churches should be investing into scalable or reproducible ministries. Now these ministries could be summed up simply by ministries that produce leaders. So what kind of ministries in your church produce leaders? These are invaluable ministries. So for example, we should have some kind of volunteer development ministry, and also find a way in your church to invest and grow future leaders. And so again, just invest in scalable ministries. And those are our 5 tips that churches should consider when crafting their budget, when considering their financial resources as they try to attain future growth. And these 5 tips I think are going to do you well towards that end. Now, 2 things that aren't going to do you well. Number 1, I'm going to make the case that you should not be averaging out your outlier gifts. So if you received a large one-time donation from a member, non-member, whatever, that is impacting your average by a significant amount, I'm going to say let's just remove that gift. It makes our forecasting really hard. So not only do we, if we were to factor that in, not only would we be placing an enormous burden on the gift giver from last year to reproduce the gift, but it's also throwing off our numbers in our forecast, be it at the end of the year, in the summer, or whenever we expected it. So just take it out. Number 2 thing you should not be doing is just rolling over our gifts from last year to this year. I'm going to say let's budget for 90% of that. So budget as if you were to receive 10% less than you did last year. This does 2 things. Number 1, it keeps your budgets at a conservative amount. It hopefully gives you time to analyze, look at, evaluate where your current money is going, but it also gives you room for your stretch budget. So those are the 2 tips that I think churches should not be doing in 2026. Thank you guys for watching, and see you around for the next video.